But I know for a lot of folks out there, it is a primary source of information. It's a primary source of information that they use to shape the way that they deal with other people, that they create these narratives of how they think they should be treated or not be treated. If you think what you think is really accurate, then listen to an opposing viewpoint and actually determine maybe there's something I can take away from that encounter that might be applicable to how I see things now. Maybe I wasn't considering those things before.
Yeah. Everybody now is just focused on, oh, well, like, this is my truth. I'm living my truth. I don't care what you have to say about it. Or just being like, oh, well, I'm real. And this is the way that I do this, that, and the third. That's exactly my way or the highway. Like, if you not even have, like, being open to, like, having challenging conversations. And I think that's another thing that has kind of, messed us up or gotten us off track.
And I try my best, because I'm a therapist, I try really hard to consume information and content from all sides. Because I think that's where you really get more of the whole picture, right? Looking things from a holistic perspective. So I'm certainly not going to like only listen to guys say like, oh, well, this is how women are and blah, blah, blah. And hear women like, men ain't this and men ain't that. I'm like, number one, we need some personal accountability, which we've already discussed. But a lot of us are also, to your point, and again, I'm not anti-social media. I do think it needs to be much more carefully understood, and the impacts need to be fully appreciated, particularly for parents of young kids. Or young teens. But it does create a perception that may not always be accurate. And I think we need to hold truth to that.
Yes.
I can give another example. And I don't live on social media. I use social media as a tool that I believe that it is, and that's it. When I say I don't live, I mean I don't scroll. I just use it and then I get off because I just don't care enough about it. But I understand the impact that it can have, the audience, the reach, all of that. But I know for a lot of folks out there, it is a primary source of information. It's a primary source of information that they use to shape the way that they deal with other people, that they create these narratives of how they think they should be treated or not be treated. And again, I think so many of us are not getting out of that comfort zone to really have your ideas challenged. Not because we need to argue, we need to fight, but if you think what you think is really accurate, then listen to an opposing viewpoint and actually determine maybe there's something I can take away from that encounter that might be applicable to how I see things now. Maybe I wasn't considering those things before.
Yeah. And that makes me think of something that when I was up in Tallahassee, I was at, was it a conference? It was something, but I remember the guy that was speaking, that was speaking, it wasn't necessarily criticizing the phrase, but just kind of challenging it about how everybody now is just focused on, oh, well, like, this is my truth. I'm living my truth. I don't care what you have to say about it. Or just being like, oh, well, I'm real. And this is the way that I do this, that, and the third. But just so focused on, okay, this is my way. My way is right. Yes, exactly. My way or the highway. Like, if you not even have, like, being open to, like, having challenging conversations. And I think that's another thing that has kind of, messed us up or gotten us off track as a society, because so many people are just focused on, now, like, this is how I feel, this is how I think. Most people are like, well, yeah, this is how I think, and I'm right in that sense. And if you challenge me, or if you, disagree necessarily with what I'm saying, well, then we don't have anything to discuss. Like,
like right out the gate.
Exactly. So, like, I'm not about to deal with it. I'm not about to entertain, like, any type of, challenging conversations. And I think that that's something that has kind of, like I said, has messed us up as a society, because no one is really having conversations like that anymore.
I agree. I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
I think that that's so profound. And again, I'm trying to say these things, and it's taken me a while to want to address these things, because I know how difficult it is, right? And again, that's why I preface by saying we're not going to get this stuff right all the time, So please have grace and patience for each other. We're going to misspeak. We're going to make mistakes. I don't believe that most of us are evil and inherently trying to engage in these conversations with ill intent.
Yeah.
I think is that we need to create the space to be able to have those respectful disagreements or respectful discourse, even if we don't share the same views or the same beliefs.
Yeah.
Because that's how we're going to get to that place of more harmony. Not that everybody's going to be on the same page, because that's not true either.
Yeah.
But more than what we have presently. More of us could learn to get along better if we were willing to engage in these discussions. And again, I think about it in the purview of relationship building, because that's one of those fundamental things that we all typically will go through. You know? And if you're seeing, to your point about, well, you know, if you don't kind of match what I already think right off the bat, like there's nothing to talk about, that pretty much means we're preaching isolationism. Meaning, if you don't agree with me, don't exist in my world. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. It doesn't exist. All my content that I consume, I want it to only be things that reaffirm and reinforce how I already feel. That is dangerous.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that there's no other message I'm trying to preach in that front. I'm only trying to make the point that, like I said earlier, the world does not operate from your viewpoint. We all have bias.
Yep.
Right? We all do, myself included. To me, our challenge is to, as often as you can, get outside of your comfort zone and get outside of your bubble of information, of expectation. Because then you can actually create an environment where you can find compromise. You can get along with other people. You can maybe find a relationship and make it work with somebody, because it doesn't have to fundamentally be guided by your viewpoint only.
Yes.
But so many of us, like, that is like the guiding principle. You know, again, my way or the highway. If you're not doing what I'm saying, that's it. We're shutting it down now. And I spent all this time discussing this because I worry that the younger generation are going to be a lot lonelier if they don't get it together and we don't help them and challenge them to be better in that particular area. Not because they're fundamentally bad people, not because they're fundamentally flawed. That, I think, is a huge effect of social media and how it is only painting one type of story.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
So thank you for going on that very long-winded and extended journey with me, because I know that that's a lot to unpack.